Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old as gold, but these rare Kennedy half-dollar coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin number 1. Imagine you are holding history in your hand. This coin before you isn't just a piece of metal, it's a celebration, a story, a tribute to 200 years of a nation's birth. This is the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar, the iconic bicentennial half, minted to honor 2 centuries since the Declaration of Independence. Close your eyes and picture America in the mid-1970s. The country was looking back at its roots, its founding, its revolution, its struggles and triumphs. To mark that milestone, the United States Mint struck a special half-dollar. The obverse still shows the familiar portrait of the beloved president, but the date has changed. Instead of a single year, this coin bears 1776 to 1976, symbolizing 200 years of independence. On the reverse, instead of the usual eagle, appears the image of Independence Hall, the birthplace of American independence, where the Declaration was debated, signed, and the spirit of freedom was kindled. Every glance at this coin brings forth history, legacy, and pride for many. The bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar is a nostalgic token, something you might find while sorting old pocket change, or among dusty coins in a forgotten drawer. And for most such coins, that's all they are, a half-dollar with a cool dual date. In their everyday circulated condition, they are worth barely more than face value. But, and this is where the magic begins, under the right conditions, or with the right quirks, this humble coin can transform into something much more desirable. Why do collectors still care about this coin decades later when millions were minted? Because among those millions, a few rare gems slip through, coins with unusual errors, perfect condition, or special silver content. Those are the ones that make the heart of any serious coin collector beat faster. First, let's talk about the easiest to find versions, the common copper nickel-clad half-dollars from Philadelphia, no mint mark, or Denver, with D mint mark. These coins were produced in huge numbers, over 234 million just from Philadelphia alone. Most circulated pieces, the ones that changed hands in wallets, drawers, basements, are worth roughly their face value, maybe up to a few dollars if in decent uncirculated condition. But when a coin emerges in uncirculated, mint-state condition, with its luster intact, no scratches, crisp detail, the value climbs. Collectors call these MS, mint-state, coins. A 1976 Kennedy half in such a state can sometimes fetch a few dollars to a few tens of dollars, especially if it's graded by a professional service and preserved well. Still, uncirculated coins don't always excite the serious collectors. After all, there are many of them, and most have mundane history. The real thrill lies in rarity, in unusual mistakes, in silver content, and in proof coins. One fascinating twist: there are silver versions of the bicentennial half, struck for collectors. These coins contain 40% silver and offer more than just numismatic, they carry bullion value. But beyond that, some of these coins entered the collector world as special proof coins, struck with extra care, often showing mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. If you're lucky enough to find a silver-proof 1976 Kennedy half in top condition, you might be holding a real gem. Some of these have sold for hundreds, even thousands, of dollars. Then there's a whole other dimension, the error coins. Minting is a complex art, and sometimes small mistakes slip through. That's when a common coin becomes rare. The 1776 to 1976 half-dollar has known error varieties: doubled die obverse or reverse, off-center strikes, brockage, mirror image impressions, long planchets, and more. Imagine a coin where the date or lettering is doubled, or where part of the design is missing because the strike was off-center. Such anomalies catch a collector's eye. Some of those error coins have fetched significant sums. One doubled die error sold for over $5,000. Other mistakes, like off-center strikes, missing clad layer, or mirror brockage, sent certain coins to auction with prices soaring into the hundreds or thousands. So if you ever stumble on a 1776 to 1976 half-dollar, don't dismiss it immediately. Study it carefully. Look for mint mark. Inspect the metal and edge to check if it might be silver. Examine design details under good light, maybe even magnification, to detect die doubling, misalignment, or strange textures. One perfect error coin is worth far more than hundreds of ordinary ones. For collectors, this coin represents more than value. It is history, a physical connection to America's bicentennial, to the hopes, heritage, and pride of a nation. It's a conversation starter. It's a piece of art. It's a treasure hunt, and that's what makes this journey exciting. Because somewhere, in circulation, storage boxes, old jars, there could be a coin with hidden potential. Maybe the very one you pick up could be the one that surprises you. So next time you hold a bicentennial Kennedy $50, take a moment. Let your fingers feel its edges. Let your eyes trace its date, its design, its metal. What story might this coin tell? Could it be a rare variant? A silver proof? A mint state survivor? Or perhaps a hidden error waiting to be discovered? If you're a coin lover, a history buff, or someone who loves a good treasure hunt, treat every old coin with respect. Who knows what surprises await just under the surface? And now, for those curious about money, today's real market price and auction value can vary widely depending on condition and rarity. For a typical circulated bicentennial Kennedy $50, the value is close to face value, around 50 cents to a few dollars. For uncirculated, standard clad coins with good condition, expect a few dollars to $20-something. For proof or silver-clad versions, especially those graded or in pristine condition, values often rise into the tens to hundreds of dollars. And for rare error coins, especially those with doubling, off-center strikes, or missing layers, some have fetched several thousands of dollars at auction. Coin number 2. We are going to explore this coin in a way that keeps you watching, listening, and enjoying every moment, because this coin carries a story that goes far beyond metal. It carries a century of American memories. The 1918 $50 belongs to one of the most beautiful designs in United States history, the Walking Liberty design. When you hold it, the first thing you see is Lady Liberty herself, flowing gown, arms stretched forward, carrying the nation's spirit into the future. On the reverse is the majestic American eagle standing proudly, symbolizing strength during a time when the country was recovering from war and preparing for a new era. This artwork alone makes collectors fall in love with the coin, but beauty is only the beginning. The real magic begins when we talk about rarity. In 1918, the Mint produced coins in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Even though these coins were made in the millions, very few survived in high condition. Most were used daily, worn down by circulation, scratched, dented, and eventually melted decades later. That's why a true well-preserved 1918 $50 is a treasure that serious collectors chase with passion. Finding one with strong details, shining luster, and crisp edges is like discovering a hidden piece of American treasure. But what really makes 1918 $50 exciting, the kind that coin lovers listen carefully for, are the rare error varieties. These errors can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary prize. Some coins were struck slightly off-center, creating a misaligned rim that collectors love. Others show doubling in the letters of Liberty or the date, making them dramatically more valuable. Even more impressive are coins where the mint mark was accidentally punched slightly sideways or too lightly, creating a rare variety that collectors spend years hunting for. A missing feather, a weak strike on the eagle's wing, or a die crack traveling across Liberty's dress, these features turn the coin from historic to legendary. And then there's the condition factor. A 1918 $50 with sharp details, the folds of Liberty's gown clear, her hand fully defined, the eagle's feathers distinct, becomes a star in any collection. The higher the grade, the more the value multiplies, because time has not been kind to most of these coins. Many today show softness in the strike, worn surfaces, or flat details. But a strong strike, a bright surface, or a surprisingly clean field makes a collector stop, stare, and appreciate the coin like artwork. Collectors adore the 1918 $50 because of its story. This coin circulated during the final months of the First World War, when the United States was shaping its identity and emerging on the world stage. Every mark, every scratch on a circulated piece tells a story of American life in the early 20th century. That makes even a worn coin meaningful. But for those who dream big, the rare examples, the ones without heavy wear, the ones with unusual mint errors, the ones with beautiful toning and sharp edges, become priceless additions to personal collections. Imagine the thrill of finding one in an old drawer, a forgotten box, or a family coin album passed down through generations. Imagine turning it over in your hand and realizing the date reads 1918, that the coin is older than most living Americans. You can almost feel the weight of history pressing into your fingertips. That sense of connection is what gives collectors their passion. And that passion is what makes this coin an exciting part of any journey into coin collecting. So as you continue watching and listening, remember that this coin is not just silver. It is a time capsule. It is art. It is American heritage forged into metal and preserved for over 100 years. And the more you learn, the more you realize that every 1918 half dollar may look similar at first glance, but each holds its own secrets, its own rarity, its own story, and its own potential value. Now let's talk about the real market price and auction value today. A heavily circulated 1918 half dollar generally sells for around $20 to $40. A lightly circulated example often ranges from $50 to $100. A well-preserved mint-state example can climb into several hundreds. A rare error or exceptionally high-grade piece has sold at auction for prices reaching several thousands of dollars, and the highest-known examples have achieved prices in the tens of thousands. Coin number 3. We dive into the story of a coin that millions of people have seen, but only a few truly understand. This is the United States of America Kennedy 1981 p half-dollar coin. At first glance it looks like an ordinary piece of pocket change, something that might pass through your hands without a second thought. But when you look closely, when you understand its history, its rarity, its hidden errors, and the secrets behind its minting, this coin becomes something much more. It becomes a treasure worth exploring, a mystery worth solving, and a collectible that keeps coin lovers listening all the way to the very end. The 1981 P. Kennedy half dollar was minted during a time when the United States Mint was producing fewer half dollars for circulation. By the early 1980s, half dollars had almost disappeared from daily use. Most people didn't carry them anymore, stores didn't give them as change, and banks rarely kept them in large quantities. Because of this, many 1981 half dollars didn't circulate widely. They were made in moderate numbers but were often stored, saved, or forgotten in mint sets. And that alone adds an interesting twist to this coin story, but the more you explore this coin, the more fascinating it becomes. The Philadelphia Mint mark, the small letter P, tells collectors that the coin was struck at the main minting facility, the place where some of the most iconic coins in American history were produced. And the 1981 issue stands out because it was one of the last years when half dollars were produced primarily for collectors instead of regular circulation. While millions were minted, only a small portion survived in excellent, high-grade condition. Most suffered scratches, bag marks, dull surfaces, or weak strikes, making high-quality examples surprisingly special. Collectors know that the Kennedy half dollar series is full of interesting varieties, and the 1981 P is no exception. Some coins from this year show unusual die characteristics that make them stand out dramatically. There are examples with doubled lettering, where the words appear slightly shadowed or doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process. There are coins with die cracks, thin lines that stretch across the coin like lightning, caused by aging dies. These natural imperfections give each coin a unique personality, making collectors feel like they're holding something one-of-a-kind. Even more exciting are the rare off-center strikes. Imagine a coin where the rim is uneven or the design is shifted visibly to one side. These striking errors capture the attention of every collector because they transform a normal half dollar into a rare minting accident. Some 1981 P half dollars also show filled mint marks, where the letter P looks bloated or partially missing due to debris blocking part of the punch. All of these little surprises increase value and make this coin a dream for error hunters, but even without errors, condition alone can turn this coin into a valuable collectible. A 1981 P half dollar with sharp details on Kennedy's hair, a clean cheek free of marks, and strong luster reflecting under the light is something collectors chase with intensity. Many of these coins were struck weekly, meaning even fresh ones have soft details. That makes a well-struck example incredibly appealing. When a collector finds a bright, frosty, high-grade 1981 p half dollar, it feels like discovering a hidden gem among ordinary stones. For many collectors, this coin also carries nostalgia. It represents an era when the Kennedy half dollar was still respected, still produced in meaningful numbers, and still cherished by Americans who remembered the legacy of President John F. Kennedy. Holding the coin is like holding a small piece of that history. Some people keep it because it reminds them of older generations, others because they admire Kennedy's impact, and many because it is simply an iconic symbol of American numismatics. But what truly makes this coin exciting is the possibility that your old jar of coins, your family collection, your forgotten album, might contain something rare. Every time someone picks up a Kennedy half dollar and checks the date, they feel that spark of curiosity. And when the date reads 1981 and the mint mark reads P, collectors instantly take a closer look. The thrill of potentially finding a rare error or high-grade example keeps people searching day after day. As you continue listening, imagine the sound of the coin turning between your fingers, the light dancing across its surface, and the sense of discovery when you realize that this small piece of metal is part of a story bigger than itself. It is a story of minting craftsmanship, accidental errors, history, and the passion of collectors who dedicate their time to understanding every detail. And now let's talk about the real market price and auction value of this coin today. A circulated 1981 p Kennedy half dollar is usually worth around $1 to $3. A bright uncirculated example can range from $5 to $20. A truly high-grade piece certified by a grading service can sell for amounts ranging from $50 to several hundreds. Rare error varieties such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or filled mint marks can reach prices from hundreds to well over $1,000 depending on condition and rarity. Coin number 4. A coin from the start of a new century. A coin struck at a moment when the world was changing, technology was exploding, and America was stepping into the year 2000 with fresh hopes. This is the United States of America Kennedy 2000 p half dollar coin, a modern treasure with a story deeper than most people realize. While millions of people have handled this coin without paying attention, collectors know that certain versions of this coin can be surprisingly rare, incredibly interesting, and sometimes very valuable. Today, we explore that hidden world and reveal why the 2000 p Kennedy half dollar still captures the eyes and ears of coin lovers everywhere. At first glance, the coin looks modern and simple. But the year 2000 carries a sense of significance. A brand new century. A brand new chapter in U.S. minting. Even though the Kennedy series has been around since 1964, the turn of the millennium issues have become increasingly sought after because they bridge the gap between the classic era and the modern era of coin collecting. And the 2000 p, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, became part of a time when half dollars were no longer common in circulation. Very few people used them, and banks rarely ordered them. That means although the mintage numbers look big on paper, many coins were never widely spread across America. A huge number stayed sealed in mint bags, mint sets, or storage vaults, leaving fewer high-quality examples in everyday hands. Collectors quickly learned that the 2000 p Kennedy half dollar has an unusual behavior. Many of the coins struck in Philadelphia show weak strikes. The details on Kennedy's hair, jaw, and cheek often look flat, lacking texture or depth. The eagle's feathers on the reverse sometimes appear muted or soft. Finding a crisp, sharp, fully detailed example is far harder than many people think. That difficulty instantly increases collector interest because the challenge of finding perfection fuels the excitement of treasure hunting. But the real stories begin when we talk about rare varieties and errors. The 2000 p half dollar has become well known among error chasers because several interesting mistakes appeared this year. Some coins show die cracks, thin raised lines running across the obverse or reverse, often forming patterns collectors love, especially lightning-shaped cracks that stretch across Kennedy's face or near the motto. Others show die chips, where small chunks of metal fill in parts of the design, creating unique blobs around the letters or inside Kennedy's profile. These little imperfections are like fingerprints, making each coin one of a kind. Even more exciting are the dramatic errors. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin was struck outside the center, can turn a common coin into a rare collectible instantly. Missing clad layer errors also exist. Some 2000p half dollars appear reddish or copper toned because the outer layer of nickel was missing when the coin was struck. These mistakes are extremely desirable and can bring high prices from collectors who love unusual pieces. And then there is the king of modern errors, the double-struck coin. A coin struck twice by the minting press can show two overlapping profiles of Kennedy or two layers of letters. Such errors from the year 2000 are exciting, dramatic, and valuable coins that make collectors stop scrolling, stop searching, and pay full attention. Error collectors know the thrill of finding something like this is rare, and that rarity makes every 2000p half dollar worth checking. Beyond errors, surface quality and luster make a huge difference. Some coins from this year develop beautiful natural toning, shifting in color from gold to green to blue. Others show deep mirror surfaces if they came from special mint sets. A flawless example with perfect shine feels like holding a mirror made of history. Collectors also appreciate symbolism. The Kennedy half dollar is one of the most emotionally meaningful U.S. coins. It represents leadership, legacy, patriotism, and a moment in American history that changed the nation forever. Even modern dates like 2000 carry that emotional weight. Each coin feels connected to something larger, a tribute that continues more than half a century after President Kennedy's legacy began, and that's why the 2000p Kennedy half dollar keeps people searching. Because inside jars, drawers, family collections, and forgotten coin rolls, there might be an unnoticed gem, a sharp strike, a hidden error, a rare condition example waiting to be discovered. Many collectors say the thrill is not just in owning the coin, but in finding it. That moment when the date 2000 appears under the light, and the small letter P shines softly above the year, collectors feel the excitement rise. Every piece becomes a mystery, a puzzle, a story waiting to be revealed. So take a moment and picture it, holding this coin between your fingers, turning it slowly, watching the light glide across Kennedy's profile. The smoothness, the shine, the texture of the metal. This is more than a half dollar. It is a modern collectible, a piece of American minting history, a symbol of the new millennium, and a gateway into the world of rare errors and valuable varieties. Now let's talk about today's real market price and auction value of this coin. A typical circulated 2000p Kennedy half dollar generally sells for around $1 to $2. A bright uncirculated example usually ranges from $3 to $15. A certified high-grade piece, especially those graded above mint state 65, can sell from $20 to over $100. Rare error examples such as missing clad layers, dramatic off-center strikes, or double-struck pieces have sold for prices ranging from several hundreds to well over $1,000 at auction depending on severity and condition. Coin number 5. We explore a coin that looks modern on the surface but hides a world of secrets beneath its shine. This is the United States of America Kennedy 1992p half dollar coin, a piece that entered circulation quietly but has become one of the most fascinating modern half dollars for collectors who know how to look deeper. While most people see the Kennedy half dollar as a common coin, the 1992p carries a combination of rarity, hidden errors, striking differences, and surprising value that coin lovers listen to very carefully. And today, we reveal everything that makes this coin stand out. The year 1992 was not a normal year for half dollars. By the early 1990s, Americans were no longer using half dollars in daily transactions. People preferred paper bills and smaller coins. That meant the mint produced far fewer half dollars compared to earlier decades. And because banks rarely ordered them, many of the coins minted in Philadelphia stayed in storage, sealed away in mint bags or sent to collectors through mint sets. Very few actually circulated. Even though millions were made, only a tiny fraction survived in excellent condition, which already adds a layer of rarity before we even mention errors or varieties. Collectors know that the Kennedy half dollar series contains some of the most visually striking details among modern U.S. coins. On the 1992p, Kennedy's profile shows a mixture of sharp lines and soft curves that reveal the quality of the strike. But here's where the coin becomes exciting. Philadelphia strikes from this year are known for having inconsistent quality. Some coins show strong hair details, while others appear dull and weakly struck. This inconsistency means that truly sharp, fully detailed 1992p examples are harder to find than most collectors expect, making high-grade coins especially desirable, but the real thrill comes from the rare error varieties that appeared this year. That is where coin collectors lean in, listen closely, and enjoy every detail point. One of the most popular errors on this coin is the doubled die variety. On some coins, the lettering on the obverse or reverse appears doubled, slightly shadowed, or slightly enlarged, caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process. These doubled dies are extremely collectible and instantly increase the value of the coin. Then there are die cracks, which appear as raised lines across Kennedy's cheek, neck, or hair. Some cracks stretch toward the rim, creating dramatic lightning-like designs. Others appear on the reverse across the eagle's wings or lettering. Each die crack is unique, making the coin truly one of a kind. Another fascinating error is the filled mint mark. On some 1992p coins, the P mint mark looks thick, blob-like, or partially closed due to debris in the punching process. These varieties are subtle but highly sought after by error collectors. Even more exciting are the rare off-center strikes. Imagine a coin where part of Kennedy's face is shifted to one side, or the reverse is missing a portion of the design because the coin was not perfectly centered during striking. These mistakes instantly transform a common 1992p half dollar into a rare collectible. Missing clad layer errors also exist, where the outer nickel layer was missing on one side or both sides, exposing the copper core underneath. These coins have a reddish or bronze tone and can fetch impressive prices due to their rarity and dramatic appearance, and for collectors who love extreme errors, the double-struck 1992p is considered one of the most exciting finds. A coin struck twice by the minting press displays two overlapping designs, making it visually stunning and highly valuable. Beyond errors, the coin's surfaces tell their own story. Some 1992p half dollars develop natural toning after years of storage, deep blues, purples, golds, and green shades spreading across the metal like artwork. A beautifully toned specimen can turn an ordinary half dollar into a collector's dream. And if the coin came from a mint set or was preserved perfectly, it may still shine with bright luster that reflects light like a mirror. Collectors also appreciate the emotional connection the Kennedy half dollar holds. Even decades after it was first released in honor of President John F. Kennedy, the design continues to be an icon of American coinage. Every year of the series carries its own significance, but the early 1990s have become especially popular because they bridged the gap between traditional minting quality and the modern minting era. And the 1992p stands right in the middle of that transition. Picture the moment when you pick up a half dollar from a drawer or a collection and see the date 1992. Then you turn it over and spot the letter P. Instant curiosity. Instant excitement. Because every coin from this year has potential to be a high-grade beauty, a rare error, a valuable collectible, or a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Now let's finally talk about today's real market price and auction value. A circulated 1992p Kennedy half dollar generally sells for around $1 to $3. A bright uncirculated example often ranges from $5 to $15. A certified high-grade example can sell from $20 to over $100. Error coins such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, or double-struck pieces have sold for prices from several hundreds to well over $1,000 depending on rarity and condition.